Good afternoon, everybody. It's April 22nd, 2025 in the afternoon. And if you hear roosters crowing in the background, it's because I have too many. And I want to tell you about a funny comment that I saw. I was reading somebody else's comments. I guess it was a homesteader or whatever. And I like to scroll down and read the comments. And one guy writes that he said, "Oh, I'm listening to your video. I just got through eating one of my roosters for lunch." Uh, you know, I have too many roosters, but honestly, I couldn't do that. I would have such a hard time if somebody else did it. But that's what people do on farms and stuff. But it's not their fault that they crow too much, or that they were born, or that my hens just tend to hatch more roosters than hens, unfortunately. So that's why I've been taking all of their eggs and not allowing them to hatch any. I don't want any more roosters, so if you hear them, that's why. Mary King drew this adorable little rooster baby here. Mary King is an artist on eBay. And the logo that I created is actually the circular little cat outline, and then the little cats that were drawn around it was commissions. So I paid somebody to insert my logo into that cute little cat design as thank yous for some people that have donated. So anyway, I received, I guess it's sort of like a testimony from Matson Miles. Anybody who's been in the Saturday night chat would probably know Matson. He's in there often with his wife. So here we go. This is actually from April 20th. Hello, Lorraine. I hope you're doing well and in good spirits. You may read this or do whatever you feel is good for you with it. Please use my Google handle, Matson Miles. Thought to drop a line to say hello and wish you well. I've been watching your videos, keeping up with what's going on at your place. It seems like the nastiness levels are picking up all over, but it sure does seem to be climbing in your part of the world there in Kentucky. It's nice to know that subscribers are listening to what I say, right? While you can get all clinical and call these criminals antisocial and narcissists or maybe psychopaths, I prefer calling them what they are. Dirty bastards or effing assholes. Just keeping it simple, although I'm adding to it something like this. Effing assholes! Exclamation. Why you gotta be that way? Didn't your mother hug you enough as a child? Or maybe daddy didn't ever tell you that he loved you. What? What went wrong in your life? Your Grammy wouldn't be very proud of you today, because you guys are assholes. Sometimes I'll start singing the asshole song. You know that one, Lorraine, right? It's a Jimmy Buffett song, but I'm not sure he wrote it or not. Here are the lyrics. Wait one second, guys. Okay, here we go. Well, I was driving down I-95 the other night. Somebody nearly cut me right off the road. I decided I wasn't going to do any good to get mad, so I wrote a song about him instead, and it goes like this. Were you born an asshole? Or did you work at it your whole life? Either way, it worked out fine, 'cause you're an asshole tonight. Yes, you're an asshole. And don't try to blame it on me. You deserve all the credit. Wait, let me scroll down here. You deserve all this credit. All the credit. You're an asshole tonight. You're an asshole yesterday. You're an asshole tonight. I've got a feeling you'll be an asshole the rest of your life. And I was talking to your mother just the other night. I told her I thought you were an asshole, and she said, yes, I think you're right. And all your friends are assholes because you've known them your whole life. And somebody told me you've got an asshole for a wife. Is this really a song? Were you born an asshole, or did you work at it your whole life? Either way, it worked out fine, 'cause you're an asshole tonight. He says, I don't always sing well, so it's a special treat for those who are listening to what they got no right to be listening to. Anyhow, Oh my goodness. I should have listened to it first so that I could actually sing it. Anyway. Anyhow, I hope you're managing the daily antics of your dumbass fan club from hell. You're doing okay. It sounds like maybe you're getting closer to outright anger lately at some of the ridiculousness they cause. I don't blame you, believe me. I know how you must feel. You can't help but get fed up with the stupidity. They sure know how to screw stuff up. Around here, they'll do something to things for their benefit, like so as to gain access when they want to, and I'll find it later that they've been altered, and to my needs they've ruined it. Okay, so they come into his house and alter things, or it's something that may be useful to me in any way to find them, see them, and record them, or maybe get a little break from them. They'll steal it, break it enough just for it to not work well for its purpose anymore. But worse is that they have altered my things to be of purpose to them and wreck them from what I had intended for it when I bought it or built it. They do that to my home. I have been disassembling parts of my house to put things back the way I want them, the way I built it to be long ago, the way I wanted it to be when I built it in the first place. And back when I built it the way I wanted it to be, I expected it was going to stay that way until I decided to change it. If and when I needed anything changed, and what those changes would be. But they went ahead and changed my things and my handiwork into something else without my approval, without ever asking. They did that to my things in my home, my castle, my private castle. Effing assholes. So he sends a photo here. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Maybe he'll describe it, but look at all these little circles. 1 second. And you have to understand, Matson Miles has built his house. He bought like a fixer-upper, and he fixed it up inside and out. And then these criminals come in, they're reorganizing things. Okay, oh, so this is a brand new tube of toothpaste. Do you see the tiny holes in the seal? Yes, okay, so that's what it is. Brand new tube of toothpaste. Tiny holes in the seal. That's like what they do to my window sealer, so that all the air comes in and condensation on the windows in the wintertime. So here it is. Wow, you really enlarged this. Those are like perfect circles too. I wonder what they're using. So let's just scroll down here. Okay, so this is the top. This is the top of the toothpaste, the opening. And it looks like a hairbrush. This is a brand new bottle of shampoo. They poisoned the open ones in the shower. His wife picked up some new ones but forgot them in her car overnight. They got to them in her locked car. But that's not why I actually sat down to write and send you this letter. I wanted to show you some photos I took and share what I think works for us and helps to know what may have been tainted with whatever nefarious chemicals or drugs they use on us. At least it seems to work a lot of the time. Not always, and I have no real way to test it for accuracy in any controlled tests, considering I don't know what the poisons they use are, and I don't have actual test samples to judge its ability to discern the evil substance from one innocent substance, like i.e. the ingredient triggering a false positive. Okay, I can see reason for some skepticism here, but this really comes down to being a judgment call with help of an unproven visual aid. So let me show you the visual aid here. This is a recent photo of something I was checking out after the last attack. It looks like it may be wood, either my chair or the table where I sit. So let me show you. I don't know, I have to say, they almost look like little embryos of something. Um, they're like perfect little circular. The iPhone app magnifier will enhance the camera's ability to magnify images, shows not only the layer of whatever the drug is and its adhesive or mortar as a glaze coating that covers the items in question. It will constantly show a target when the drug is present. Move the camera in to focus and then very slowly move in closer yet to the subject. And you may find that the out of focus image is covered in targets, little bubbles piled up on top of each other. Or maybe this item has few scattered only thinly in groupings. These bubbles with a bullseye in the center, some without the bullseye, appears to be the dermal layer showing as if it's in a molecular-like looking structure. I have to try that. I don't know if I have that feature on my iPhone. Maybe I'll download one of these photos and upload it as the thumbnail. Okay, here's some more. That's a little creepy. Isn't it creepy? This is his instant coffee. He says, I think I'll pass. Ruined another jar. Oh, this is his instant coffee. Oh my goodness. I wonder if they're doing that to mine. Oh my goodness. Now I have to wonder. I don't have any idea why, considering that nothing else I've looked at shows a tell-take anomaly constantly and conveniently like this does. I don't think I would suggest in any way that if something doesn't show any of the bullseyes, that it is automatically safe. Again, this is still only an aid to help in making a judgment call. But I can say that I have come to trust its gift of help in finding what's dirty and determining if it's clean enough yet after washing something for the 4th time, or if you have to wash it again. I have used these targets to determine whether I'll eat any of that or throw it away. I don't know what the contamination is, whether it's a drug or a poison or both. But I know it's why I have walking farts in the morning. They think it's funny, I guess. Hell, I think it's funny. It's a good thing my farts don't stink for a good long time. I just thought the walking farts just came with age, and I'm getting old. Oh well. Well, actually, other targets have complained of that. Oh, look at these. This is a paper towel off of the roll. They unrolled it, then rolled it back up again. They are detail-oriented, so this dermal coating being seen as targets of sort is ironic, don't you think? And handy. Here, look at it. And look at the little dot in the center. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, let's scroll down, see what else you're writing here. So this dermal coating being seen as targets is sort of ironic, don't you think, and handy in the interest of knowing what has been attacked by our intruders. We have had a long run this year without any invasion since I retired and watched the home front, locking it up with a homemade and self-made anti-picking and anti-shimming lock. I welded a 6-inch tube to the keyhole and made a key on a length of rod to make it harder for a lock picker to apply tension while trying to pick the lock. I also fitted the tube so an extended key won't fit in the keyhole at all without the exact right tilt of the key to slide in the keyhole. I welded bumps on the shank to stop the easy opening of the lock by sliding in a tin collar down alongside and turning it to open the lock. That's shimming. It doesn't stop them, it only slowed them down. Oh yeah. It also made them ruin the doors and windows. Well, they finally got in after keeping the house relatively free from poisoning intruders since November. I knew it wouldn't last forever, and I've been pissing them off bad. I've torn up the floor over the crawl space between two basements where I was sure they had something built into the old foundation. I will have to start another whole story to explain the crazy sounding things I'm believing makes or delivers the gases. For the purpose of this story, I'll just say I knew I did not belong to my house and was built since I did the big rebuilding 28 years ago. Oh wow, that's a long time. Actually 28, just so you know, it's a Saturn cycle. Oh my goodness. I wrecked it. It was a cement plenum or a gatherer where it must build up in there or becomes concentrated. To move it underneath the house to other rooms, they came in during the day. It was a Monday, the Mrs. Day off, and the day that I always schedule my appointments so the house isn't ever free and clear for criminals' holiday. I don't think that anyone would crawl through the very small space between the floorboards and the dirt, no more than 10 to 12 inches of space, to get into the house while she slept. They sure did. They did just that thing while I was at the heart doctor having an ECG to see if there was an improvement since the week in the hospital when I tested with ejection fraction of 17%. Funny thing, now the test shows me as quote-unquote normal. 70%, which is the quote-unquote normal rate. Not getting better or even claim that there's much improvement. Normal? $9,000 later, I felt fine. Back to the story. Well, they must have knocked her out with something and kept her asleep for the open house they had at our expense. They ruined so much food and drinks, it's just sad, and coated everything we touch, from sitting our asses down on the table, to the potty, to the bed, the bedding we sleep on, the bathtub, the sink, kitchen and bath, the chairs, the kitchen table and the floors we walk on, our shoes, our pants, shirts, right down to the dirty ones in the hamper, socks, underwear, towels, soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, toothpicks too, and straws, silverware, dishes, our phones, and my tools. They poisoned or drugged it all. Oh my goodness. I mean, I can't even imagine what they've done to me. So here are some more little bubbles. My goodness gracious. This one is my underwear, the one that I just showed you, and he says, bastards. And the next morning they came in again while I was sleeping, and they got anything they forgot to coat. Good, the first time. I'd been cleaning things to the best I can, but this shit is really on there to stay. I know. I've tried here myself with bleach, and I can't get stuff off. I've washed the same clothes like 2-3 times in a row with borax. And under a UV light, you can still see the stuff stuck to your clothing. And I'm afraid I don't see a way to avoid this being a problem in our near future, because I will be getting my knees replaced soon, and my mother, 90 years old, has skin cancer and has a couple of surgeries already and has decided no more. Problem is, she's 100 miles away, and the missus isn't retired, and the jerks don't give out time off any too easily. I want to go and stay with her for some time before she leaves this world for the next. We have been too far from each other for our whole lives, and she is the closest thing to me on this whole earth. Her blood ran through my veins, and our flesh is closer to each other's flesh than any other being, living or dead. She was a good person to have made me and raised me, and I got many advantages in this life that money can't buy. Just being born into this world from my father and my mom in this part of the world at this time that I came into being. I want some time with her to grow into a more casual, easy comfort together. To get to a place where we can both say that we know the other person as who we each are together. I wish we weren't so far from each other so long. I would have liked to be so familiar that I'd be the doting son at her beck and call, bitching about my needy mother wanting me to do something else for her this weekend, and how she takes advantage of me all the time, like I don't have anything better to do. It would have been great. So the thing is that I would like to go and spend a month or two with her, not necessarily all at once, but some real amount of time just hanging out with her, a couple, 3 weeks, and then home again. Then go back again soon. But we have this little problem here at home, and I don't want to leave her alone. And then they're getting nastier. And I've been digging up and trying to kill off the horticulture project they have built under our home. And there's one more cloaked criminal remodeling the crawl space under us and tending to their garden. They could be living there for all I know. Maybe that's why they moved all that dirt, digging out a room with higher ceilings. He was gassing us tonight. I think he was spraying by hand. I warned him he should stop this and just call it quits. I talked through the floor, and I suggested that he's not paying any rent and does not live here, and that we should just call this whole thing quits. Peace, go home. 'Cause if he keeps up this insanity and it gets worse, well, okay. There's only one door in, and the same one to get out. And I'm going to get mad enough at some point to drill and anchor that door shut. I'll be throw sheet plastic over the subfloor and tape and weigh it down, and throw 2 or 3 bug bombs down there before screwing the floor down tonight and leave home for the weekend. I got no answers, no remarks. Any suggestions? The dirt work is obviously freshly done and in mid-construction. It ain't me doing it. I just own this place. I don't have control over who comes and who goes and what goes on here. Here's a thought. Wait, I just got to plug this in for my low battery here. Okay. The dirty work is obviously freshly done and in mid-construction. It ain't me doing it. I just own this place. I don't have control over who comes and goes and what goes on there. Here's a thought. They should have a permit for the type of structural alterations they're doing. It's not hanging in my front window. I wonder what a good citizen would do in this situation. Who's responsible for obtaining the permit? Who goes in to get in trouble for not having one? Oh, that's a good point. Like, what if you were to try to sell your house, and then an inspector came and said, well, did you get a permit to do all this work? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? I wonder what a good citizen would do in this situation. Who's responsible for obtaining the permit? Who gets in trouble for not having one? Do we need to call a county inspector to stick his tape measure down to measure the depth of the footings before closing in these trenches? We have adopted all the new county zoning, and our small town uses their permitting rules, regulations, and inspectors, and those guys can be a nightmare to deal with when they want to be. Suppose I could tell them what's been done down there, and then just let them get all huffy and besides themselves and shouting about how we put the cart in front of the horse and all that kind of stuff. I can just argue and tell him how ridiculous the permits from the county are compared to the good old days. And then tell him how I built this whole place with a permit, not defined and opened, so that I could remodel the whole house, almost tripling in size, all for a $5 permit. And I never had to answer to no inspector, quote unquote, to any of it. That would make him get hard to please. Enter the nightmare, a grumpy building inspector. I really have to do something. Maybe try a live stream, an awkward one first, as I go into the crawl space and see what I see. Yeah, that would be really fascinating, wouldn't it? Thank you for being out there. Sincerely, Matson Miles. Well, this definitely sounds like a nightmare. And now that you're explaining this in such great detail, I wonder what they did to my house at 52 Sutton Drive, because they were definitely interfering with the ductwork, and they had definitely been into my attic several times, pulling apart the insulation. I wonder if they installed something behind the insulation there. I don't know. Inquiring minds like to know. Well, okay, so let's go back, because I'm sure all the perverts out there wanted to see Matson's underwear. This is what they did to his underwear. What is that? So that same stuff is on your underwear, your shampoo, your instant coffee. I'm getting sick because I use instant coffee. I wonder what's in my instant coffee, and I have to figure out how you increase this with your iPhone. I have a really old iPhone. I don't even know if I have the ability to use a magnifier. I'll have to check it out. But thank you so much for this testimony, Matson. Let me show you again the instant coffee. It looks like it has eyes. Oh, that's really creepy. That's very, very creepy. I'll have to see which one I'm going to download for the, and this is, his new bottle of shampoo. What is that stuff? Oh my goodness. It's like some protective gel. And here's the toothpaste. So anyway, that was a testimony from Matson Miles. Greetings from the Gaslands. Matson Miles, thank you so much for your testimony. I'll upload this right now and download one of these photos as your thumbnail. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And leave a comment down below if you've been able to magnify any of your food or toiletry products, and if you have witnessed any of these little circular patterns, these little bullseye target patterns.